Hare Krishna, will begin with our prayers. Om Jnanatimrandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sakrajata Tahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sativam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Tahagana Lalita Shri Shakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sudhi Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishnapristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Shatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are continuing our discussion from Srimad Bhagvatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9.
You have completed fifth verse.
Fifth verse, yes. So far we have heard Dhruva Maharaj, he went to the forest. Narad Muni tested him and he passed the test. Narad Muni instructed him in the science of Bhakti Yoga, path of devotional service. He described Ashtanga Yoga, how Dhruva should go to Madhuvan, make the deity of the Lord from the sand or whatever is available, Deshakal and Bhagavat, and worship the Lord by chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And he described what he should meditate on. He should meditate on the beautiful form of the Lord. Following the instructions, Dhruva went to Madhuvan. Narad Muni returned. He went to the palace of Uttanpad. And Uttanpad was lamenting, repenting. What will happen to my son? He has gone to the forest alone. How he will eat, where he will sleep. He may be eaten by the animals. So Narad Muni says, don't worry, O king. Your son has done a great work. Sudushkaram karam kritva lokapalairapi prabho ashyatya jaroto rajan yasho vipulavam stava. He has done most difficult task in the entire creation. What he has done, he has pleased the Lord. And don't worry, he will increase your fame. Uttanpad, he lost all interest in kingdom and ruling. He was just waiting for his son to come back. And Dhruva, on the other side, he started doing tapasya, intense tapasya he did. In 6 months, he pleased the Lord. He became so powerful that he pressed the earth by his thumb, by his toe. The entire universal air stopped. All the devtas, they went to Lord Vishnu and they're requesting, what is happening? Oh my Lord, please help us. So Lord Vishnu says, don't worry, he is my devotee. I'll take care of him. I'll go to the forest and I will give him benedictions. Lord appears and Dhruva, he was seeing the Lord in his heart, and the Lord, he disappeared from his vision. Dhruva opened his eyes, he saw the same form appearing in front of him. He fell flat, he experienced symptoms of ecstasy, and he wanted to offer prayers, but he had no experience of offering prayers. So the Lord touched the forehead of Dhruva with his conch shell. And that is what we were discussing last. So we completed 5th verse. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, first paragraph, fourth line, that is the process of understanding Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The Vedas indicate that only to one who has unflinching faith in the Lord as well as spiritual master is the Vedic conclusion revealed. Which verse is this? Yasya deve parabhakti yatha deve tatha gurau tasyete patitayartha prakashante mahatmana. So Dhruva, all the Vedas were revealed by the Lord in his heart just by the touch of the conch shell. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that by the mercy of the Lord, even a layman can compose prayers. Without mercy of the Lord, nothing can happen. Nobody can write any spiritual transcendental literature unless he is favored by the Lord. So the Lord showed a very wonderful mercy. So the different devotees, they have different capacity to glorify Krishna, but the ability is given by the Lord. The example is given by, in the first canto, Sud Goswami says, I will glorify the Lord as the birds can fly, as the wings allow, the birds can fly. Similarly, according to my intelligence, I will glorify. Where else this has come? I will glorify according to my capacity.
Maitreya Muni also says.
Maitreya Muni. He says, I will glorify यथामति यथाश्रुतम तथापि कीर्तयाम्यंग यथामति यथाश्रुतम कीर्तिर्हरेर स्वाम सत्कर्तुम गिरम अन्य अभिधा असतिम. My words will become unchaste. So that's how the Lord is giving all the mercy. Without the mercy of the Lord, nothing happens. Okay. In Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Kaviraj Goswami describes that I am able to write this transcendental literature only because the Lord has shown mercy, the Acharyas have shown mercy. Otherwise, I have no strength. More Shudra Neech Agni Vishay Lalas Vaishnav Agya Bole Kore Ete Kasahas. I am doing this endeavor because the devotees have shown mercy. Vaishnav Agya, they have given me instructions. That's why I am writing this transcendental literature. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport also that Dhruv Maharaj, last few lines of the purport, in the middle of that, Dhruv Maharaj offered his prayers to the Lord not in the way of impersonalist philosophers, but as a devotee, Bhakti Bhava. The only prayers worth offering are those prayers offered to the Supreme Lord. Dhruva wanted a kingdom of his father, and his father refused, even to allow to sit on his lap. In order to fulfill the desire, Lord already created Dhruva Loka. Dhruva Maharaj attained this perfection not by acting hastily, but by patiently executing the order of his spiritual master. And therefore, he became so successful that he could see the Lord face to face. So that is the mercy of the Lord. Prabhupada writes, to glorify or offer prayers unto the Supreme, one needs the Lord's mercy. One cannot write to glorify the Lord unless one is endowed with his causeless mercy. आमी लिखी एह मिथ्या करी अभिमान आमारे शरीर काष्ठ पुतली समान. Viraj Goswami says, if I tell that I am writing this is my false pride. I am like a puppet, kaஷ்ඨ putli saman. And he takes the name of all the deities and all the devotees, Sri Govinda, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, and all the devotees, Advaita, Nityananda, Mahaprabhu. He takes mercy, or he begs for the mercy of all these devotees there. So that's how, when somebody has a desire to serve, then the Lord bestows his mercy. And Dhruva now he starts offering beautiful prayers. So from 6 to 17, Dhruva is offering prayers. So in the 6th verse, he says, O Lord, you are enlivener of my senses. Dhruva uvacha yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayatyakila shaktidhara swadhamna अन्यांश हस्तचरण श्रवण त्वगादि प्राणा नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्.
Dhruva Maharaj said, My dear Lord, you are all powerful. After entering within me, you have enlivened all my sleeping senses, my hands, legs, ears, touch sensation, life force, and especially my power of speech. Let me offer my respective obeisances unto you.
So he says, Yo antah pravishya, O my Lord, you have entered all my senses. Antah pravishya, and all my senses were sleeping, starting from my power of speech. I could not speak anything, it was sleeping. And what you have done? Sanjeevayati, you have enlivened them. O my Lord, you are Akhila Shakti Dhara, you are all powerful. Swadhamna, you are full of all the powers. And not only you have enlivened my speech, Anyamscha, you have enlivened all my other senses also. What are they? Hasta, Charan, Shravana, Twak, Adi. My hands, my leg, ears, touch sensation. And you have enlivened my life force also, Pranan. So therefore, Namo Bhagavate Purushaya Tubhyam, let me offer my obeisances unto you. So this is a very important prayer to offer in the beginning of glorifying the Lord. Now, my Lord, whatever I am able to do, it is by your mercy only. Nothing is possible without the mercy of the Lord. It is the Lord who gives all the strength to glorify Him. As in the third canto, we have heard when Lord appears in front of Brahmaji, he says, Brahma, you remember you heard Tapa Tapa, who spoke that? I spoke. And who gave you faith to believe in those words? I gave. Who gave you strength to do tapasya? I gave. Now I am appearing in front of you, you are offering prayers. Who is giving you intelligence? I am giving intelligence. So everything is given by the Lord only. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, since Dhruva, after attaining knowledge of the meaning of the Vedas from the Lord, praised him, the intelligence should not doubt the meaning of the Vedas expressed by him. So all the knowledge which now Dhruva is saying, it is pure knowledge given by the Lord. So what happened? Seeing that all his senses had suddenly become inclined to the Lord, he understood that the Lord had made all his senses spiritual. And appreciating the incomparable, unconditional mercy, he offers respect with astonishment. You, by your Swadhamna means by your Chit Shakti, you have brought to life the power of speaking in me, so that I can describe your name, form, pastimes. The speech was sleeping till now as if dead. And from now on, you should put to sleep that power of speech which was awake in describing material enjoyment. You have enlivened all my senses and made them spiritual, and you put to sleep all my material senses. I was glorifying all the material things so far, you put to sleep that sense. Not only my power of speech has changed, but you have engaged my hands and feet in your service. You have made my life years favorable for your service. So basically, Dhruva's all the senses have suddenly become spiritual. So that is the power of the touch of the Lord. So he's offering this prayer because while sleeping, if somebody speaks something, nobody takes it seriously. Sometimes people speak while sleeping. So he says, now I have woken up. So please take my words seriously. Otherwise, my speech was meaningless so far. So in this material world, our actual consciousness, spiritual consciousness is put to sleep by material energy, by avaranatmika, prakshepatmika shakti. And it is like entering a movie theater when all the lights goes off, then another light goes on, and the person starts identifying that I am the hero. So hero is beaten, he also cries. Hero is enjoying, he also is happy. So we are there in this world in the sleeping state. But when we come to spiritual reality, then we are enlightened. That's why Mahaprabhu says, Jiva Jago, Jiva Jago. It is not that मैं तो जगा ही हुआ हूं. No, you are sleeping spiritually. Get up. So that's how. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the first paragraph, unless one comes to spiritual platform, his limbs, mind, and other faculties within the body are considered to be sleeping. Therefore, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Jiva Jago, Prabhupada quotes that. Vedas also declare, get up. You know which verse is this? Very famous verse. Last वाला लाइन आप लोगों ने सुना रहेगा. ये क्या है? ओके. उत्तिष्ठ जागृत प्राप वरान निबोधत शूरस्य धारा निशिता दुरत्तया दुर्गम पतस्तत कवयो वदन्ति. Get up, oh sleeping souls. Wake up. Shurasya dhara. This path of spiritual life, it is like razor's edge, very difficult. Please walk carefully. So what we should do? Mahajano yangata sapantha. Uska ye pehla wala line. So Prabhupada writes, get up. You have the opportunity, the boon of human form of life. Now realize yourself. Uttishta jagrata prap varan nibodh. You have got this human body. Take advantage of this. And then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada describes Dhruva was actually experienced. Imitation means sometimes I think we try to imitate them or sometimes we are not. I think we should not imitate and we are not following. I don't know that. Imitation means जो जो बड़े लोग कैसे प्रणाम कर रहे हैं वैसे हम भी प्रणाम करते हैं, कैसे वो बोल रहे हैं वैसे हम भी बोलते हैं, but we are not understanding the mood, the seriousness of that devotee. So we follow the externals, that is imitation. But following the instructions, that is called as anusarana. Anukaran and anusaran. So anukaran many times is easy for some time. Externals को imitate करना आसान हो जाता है कभी कभी. Of course, for pure devotees, it is also imitating pure devotees is not so easy externally also. Every day imitating वो मुश्किल हो जाता है. सुबह एक दो दिन imitate कर लेंगे pure devotee को. Every day doing the same thing, that is difficult. That is a test. So following the instructions is more important. अनुकरण means वो कैसे पहन रहे हैं, कैसे चल रहे हैं, कैसे खा रहे हैं, वो सब imitate. That is imitation. But following the instructions, that is difficult. Srila Prabhupada, he went to one place in the Western world and he asked for some devotee said this. He brought 7-Up. Prabhupada drank 7-Up. दुनिया भर में बात फैल गई प्रभुपाद 7-Up पीते हैं. So next temple में जहाँ गए प्रभुपाद के लिए 7-Up. Prabhupada said, I have told you so many instructions. You are not so enthusiastic. And सब devotees भी 7-Up पी रहे हैं क्योंकि प्रभुपाद ने पिया. And this one thing I did, and everybody is following because it is easy. 7-Up पीना है, easy है. but रात को 12 बजे उठ के ट्रांसलेशन करना है वो. So that's an imitation of some easy things that is very attractive. So anusaran is more difficult. Prabhupada writes in the third paragraph, when Dhruva found this difference within himself, he could immediately understand that it was because of the causeless mercy of the Lord. Without the mercy of the Lord, nobody can describe anything. This spiritual enlivenment of Dhruva's senses and mind was due to action of internal potency, Swadhamna. And the spiritual enlightenment is possible by mercy of spiritual energy. The chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is first addressed to spiritual energy. Hare. Hare is the internal potency of the Lord. So this spiritual energy acts when the living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position. So currently, sadhaka bhakta, he is not under internal potency always. Most of the times, the sadhaka is working under external energy. But pure devotees, because they are purified, they are always under internal potency. We are sometimes here, sometimes there. When a person places himself at the disposal of the Supreme Lord, they are called as Sevon Mukha. Then, very important line Prabhupada writes in the next paragraph. Without revelation by spiritual energy, one is unable to offer prayers glorifying the Lord. Nobody can write spiritual literature unless he is shown mercy by the Lord. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartan. Any amount of philosophical speculation or poetic expression by mundane persons is still considered to be action and reaction of material energy. But when he is actually enlivened, purified, then he comes under the spiritual energy. So that is very important. So here, because Dhruva, he has received this mercy, he is acknowledging that this is by your mercy, O my Lord. When we receive some empowerment, we should acknowledge and we should be grateful that this is by the mercy of the Lord, this is by the mercy of the devotees, nothing belongs to me, I am just like a puppet. Prabhupada, as he is on the Jaladuta, what he writes, Nachao, Nachao, Prabhu, Nachao, Simate, Kashtira Puttali Yat Nachao. So that is the mood of a devotee always. Whatever I have received by the mercy of the Lord. So now in the next verse, he says, the spiritual energy of the Lord enlivens and shows mercy to the devotees. Then what does this material energy do? So somebody may ask, spiritual energy enlivens the devotees, shows the mercy to devotees. What does external energy do? So he describes in the next verse. एकस्त्वमेव भगवन् निदमात्मशक्त्या
एकं त्वम् एव भगवनिदमात्मशक्त्या
गुणया महदाद्यशेषम्
माया क्षणरूपनाय महत्ताय
दृष्ट्वा
शेषम्
पुरुषस्तदसद्गुणेषु नानेव दारुषु विभावसु वद्विभासि.
My Lord, you are Supreme One, but by your different energies you appear differently in the spiritual and the material. You create the total energy of the material world by your external potency, and after creation you enter within the material world as first. You are the Supreme Person, and though the temporary modes of material nature, you create varieties of manifestation, just as fire entering into the wood of different shapes burns brilliantly in the candlelight.
Ekastvam, oh my Lord, you are Supreme One, Eka. But idam atma shaktya, by your different energies, what are you doing? Maya khayoru gunaya. You appear differently in spiritual world and the material world. You are one, but you appear differently. Mahad Adi Ashesham, you have created this entire material universe by your external energy, Maya Kya. That energy is called as Maya. By your external energy, you have created this material universe. And then, Srishtva, you have created this and you have entered this also. Srishtva Anuvishya. You have entered this material creation also. Purushastad Asad Guneshu. Although you are the supreme person, but through your temporary modes of material nature, you are creating. Tad Asad Guneshu. Temporary creation. These are the temporary creations which are happening under the modes of material nature. And then an example is given, just like the fire burns differently according to the size and the shape of the wood. Similarly, these different varieties are created. So, it is by your mercy only, O my Lord. So, the Lord, you only appear in different bodies and you manifest differently. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, I know that as Antaryami, you enter material objects and being neutral, you give them life. Entering as Antaryami, situated in material senses to give them life, you manifest differently. The senses of your devotees, by your mercy, focus on you and they become spiritual. So the devotees, they focus on you, O my Lord, and senses of other beings, they focus on Maya only. So the senses of the devotees, they are only focused on Krishna, and senses of other non-devotees, other living beings, they are focused on Maya. So then it is described. He says the word Swadhamna in the previous verse and Maya Khya in this verse indicates this conclusion. Devotees focus on Swadhamna and non-devotees focus on Maya. So Srila Prabhupada, he writes, Dhruva could immediately understand the fact very nicely that the Lord acts through his external energy in this world. And he could understand also that the energy and energetic are the one and the same. The energy cannot be separated from the energetic. So Dhruva, he understood how the energy and energetic, Shakti Shaktiman Abheda, without energetic, there is no existence of energy. So energy can stay in a separated form only, just like a voice getting recorded. Because the person is there, then only his energy is separated. If the person is not there, there is no existence of separated energy. So Prabhupada in the next paragraph describes how every machine needs separate energy, electricity, steam, and all that. Similarly, material energy acts in varieties of material bodies. Different bodies have different types of energy. Now, in the next verse, he describes, "Oh my Lord, but you are the only shelter of everyone. Tvaddhattaya vayunayedamachashta vishvam supta prabhuddha ivanatha bhavat prapannaha
प्रबुद्ध इव नाथ भवत्प्रपन्ना
syapavarya sharanam tava padamulam
तस्यापवर्गय शरणं तव
स्मरयति
पादमूलम्
कविदा कथमार्थ बन्धो
युष्माद्यते प्रविदा कथम् आर्तबन्धो
and thus people see and understand the entire universe, just as a person awakened from sleep and visualizes his immediate duties. You are the only shelter of all persons who desire liberation, and you are the friend of all who are distressed. How therefore can a learned person person who has perfect knowledge about perfection.
So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes a very beautiful commentary here. He says, "Oh my Lord, you possess all power. You alone possess all power. So Tvad-dattaya vayunayedam achasta vishwam. In the beginning, you gave knowledge to Brahma. Tvad-dattaya. So this word Bhavat Prapanna is Brahma. So you gave knowledge to Brahma in the beginning of the creation, and he could understand Achasta Vishwam. He could see the entire universe. Supta Prabuddha Iva. How he could see the universe? He gives an example. Just like a person who is sleeping and he gets awakened, he immediately understands, "Ab mere ko ye karna, I have to do this duty, that duty." Supta Prabuddha Ivanath. Similarly, Brahma, he could understand what he has to do by your mercy. Bhavat Prapanna, because Brahma is fully surrendered to you. Tasya Apavargya Sharanam, you are shelter of those who are Apavargya, those who want liberation. You are their shelter. So, and you are Artabandha, you are the friend of those who are distressed. Why is calling Artabandha? I will see.
He went for.
He said, I came for that. I was distressed. You are Artabandhu. So you are friend of all who are distressed. So Vismarayate Kritvina Katham. How can a learned person forget you? You are Artabandhu. So Srimad Bhagavatam writes, you alone possess all powers. You are to be worshipped by those who have knowledge, by the devotees who have knowledge given by you. So those surrendered to you, like Brahma, Kumar, or Jnani Bhaktas, they saw the universe given by you. How? Just like a person who was sleeping, he woke up. And how can a person who knows the favor you have given him even forget your lotus feet, which are the shelter of inquisitive devotees? So you are the shelter of devotees also, Jigyasus also, Jigyasu Bhakta, you know. So in this verse, he is saying you are the shelter of Jigyasu Bhakta and you are the shelter of Artha Bhakta. So he says, one who obtaining knowledge from you and does not worship you is ungrateful. You are Artha Bandha, you are friend of suffering devotee. It should be understood that this verse mentions three types of devotees: Artha, Jigyasu, and Artharthi. Jnani Bhaktas. So Jnani Bhaktas and Artha Bhaktas and Jigyasu Bhaktas. So he says, I am Artha Bhakta. In the next verse, he mentions that. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the Supreme Lord cannot be forgotten even by a moment by his surrendered devotees. The devotee understands that the causeless mercy of the Lord is beyond his estimation. He cannot know how much he is benefited by the Lord. So the Lord, he is working more than what we even can understand. Lord's mercy is inconceivable and it is unlimited. The more a devotee engages himself in devotional service, the more encouragement is supplied by the energy of the Lord. And being encouraged, the devotee never forgets the Lord at any moment. He always feels obliged. And by the mercy of the Lord, saintly people like Sanak, Sanatan, Brahma, they could see the entire universe. An example is given. And then Prabhupada writes about Arthabandha. And then somebody will say, well, why Dhruva is saying all this? You are Arthabandhu, you are doing this. Because the fourth type of devotee, kaun bach gaya? Artharthi. Bole, main wo hu. I am the lowest. You are merciful to Jnani Bhakta, Jigyasu Bhakta, and Artha Bhakta. I am the lowest of all. I am Artharthi Bhakta. So therefore, my intelligence is cheated. So with great regret and repentance, he speaks the next verse. Nunam vimushtamatayastava mayayate ye tvam bhavapyaya vimokshanamanya heto archanti kalpakatarum gunapopabhogyam icchanti yat sparshajam niraye pirinam.
Persons who worship you simply for the sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusory plans. In spite of having you, who are like a desired tree and are the cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons such as me desire benediction from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who in hellish conditions.
So he says, "ये बाकी तीनों तो अच्छे हैं. I am the lowest one. I am most foolish. Nunam vimushtamataya tava mayaya." Those who are certainly influenced by tava maya, what they do? They don't understand. Tvam bhavapyaya vimokshanam. You are the cause of liberation from birth and death. But वो क्या करते हैं? अन्य हेतु. There are some other motives only. And archanti, they worship you. You are like kalpataru. You are like desire fulfilling tree. And what are they asking? Kunapopavukya. They are asking for some sense gratification for this kunape. You know, ये word कहाँ पे है? यस्यात्म बुद्धि कुणपे त्रिधातुके. This body, this kunapa means this body made up of kafavat pitta, tridhatu. So he says they ask sense gratification for this bag of skin. Foolish people. This sense gratification is available in Nirayepi. In hellish situations also it is available. Just like Kapila Dev, he tells, Jantu Vaibhav etasmin yam yam yoni manu praje tasyam salabate nirvrti na virajyate. In every species of life there is happiness. There is some sense gratification available. नरकस्थोपि देहम वही. अरे नरकीय देह भी मिलेगा ना. He cannot give up. ऐसा नहीं कि पिग बॉडी है. अरे पिग बॉडी मिल गया. I want to give up this body. No. So he is telling, I am that fourth class person. I wanted sense gratification for this body. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, the fourth type of devotee, Artharthi Bhakta, is me. He is lowest and most foolish. Certainly, their intelligence has been cheated. Who are they? They worship you for anya hetu, for sense gratification. They desire happiness through a body comparable to corpse. The happiness arising from relation to sense object is available in the birth of pigs, narakepi. So Prabhupada writes, Dhruva Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. In fact, in 5th canto, in one of the verses, Prabhupada writes, 18th chapter, when the devtas are when the residents of Jambudvipa are offering prayers, in that one, in one purport, Prabhupada writes, actually, the Lord does not consider these four types of devotees as Sakam Bhakta. They are not Sakam Bhakta. Artho, Artharthi, Jigyasu, Jnani, they are not Sakam Bhakta. We should not think they are Sakam Bhaktas. Why? तो वही बोलते हैं ना, Sakam Bhakta है ये लोग. They have material desires. But for the Lord, He sees them as Udaraha Sarva Evaite. Next verse आता है उसमें. Udar, they are magnanimous. They have started practicing devotional service. So these 4 type of devotees, they are not like other devotees, other people who come to Krishna temple also worship Krishna also, and they worship some devatas also. Durga bhi puja kar lenge, Shiv ji ki sab kar lenge. They are worshipping only Krishna. They have developed faith in Krishna only. They are not Sakam Bhakta, they are neophyte Bhaktas. They have developed pure faith. What is that pure faith? Krishna is Supreme Lord, the name of the Lord and the Lord, they are non-different, and I am supposed to serve him. That is pure faith. So they have developed pure faith, so therefore they are not Sakam Bhaktas. It's just a matter of time they'll be purified of this mentality also. They have come to Krishna, that is their magnanimity. So Prabhupada writes, Dhruva, because you see all those, who is the example of Artha Bhakta? Gajendra. What beautiful prayers he offered. बोलते हैं while offering his prayers he says, अब मेरे को ये मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए. Yiji Vishena Aham Iha Moyake Mantar Bahishcha Vritaye Vayonya. I don't want to get liberated also from this body. I want to get liberated from this material existence. ये crocodile से relief नहीं चाहिए. Purified soul. आर्तो अर्थार्थी तो ध्रुवा वो प्योर डिवोटी बन जाते हैं. Who is a ज्ञानी भक्ता? Who is a जिज्ञासु? वो तो ज्ञानी है. What the जिज्ञासु भक्tas? The sages of Naimisharanya. They were jigyasu, but by association with Sutta Goswami, they became purified.
But their faith, they Sutta Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami there, I think different faith people have.
हाँ वो तो पूरा सभा थी ना, सभी हैं बैठे उधर, योगी ज्ञानी सब लोग बैठे.
But here in Sutta Goswami's Naimisharanya, everybody has the same.
हाँ शौनक आदि ऋषि बोलते हैं ना कि केवल एक ही अच्छा चीज हुआ है, हमारे मुंह काले हुए हैं. धूम्र धूम्रात्मनान भवान आपायति गोविंद पाद पद्मासवम मधु. बहुत हो गया ये, यज्ञ बहुत कर लिया, मुंह बहुत काला हो गया हमारा धुएं से. अब आप कृष्ण कथा सुनाइए. Prabhupada writes, Dhruv Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material benefit. Here he condemns his attitude. Only due to gross lack of knowledge, one worships the Lord for sense gratification. So that's how it is. So even if somebody has some material desires, they should pray to the Lord. Fulfillment of the desires पहले मांग लीजिए, उसके बाद if it is really pressing. ऐसा नहीं कि हाँ भी कार तो है, एक रोल्स रॉयस आता तो अच्छा होता था. If some pressing desire is there, सच में ये जरूरत है. But at the end also we should offer this prayer. I don't know what to ask, therefore I am asking this. Please give me intelligence to ask for the right thing. Because we cannot act at a level where we are not. Should be honest with the Lord. Artificial bhakti नहीं चलता है भगवान के सामने. Okay. The next 2 verses are the crest jewel verses spoken by Dhruva. So the Lord, hearing that अच्छा आपको मुक्ति, Lord gives freedom and all that you are speaking. So Vishnu Chakravarti writes that, since you mentioned that the Lord gives freedom from birth and death, and then the result of worshipping the Lord must be merging in Brahman. Since this is devoid of enjoyment in the material body. Generally people say like that, mukti chahiye, Brahma mukti. So Dhruva, he says, though you say people desire this, the wise never desire it at all. The wise people, they never desire Brahma liberation. So after repenting कि मैं तो अर्थार्थी हूँ, मैंने इतना क्या किसके लिए भक्ति किया है, then he is now sharing his realizations in next 2 verses, beautiful verses. ये 2 तो श्लोक याद करने ही चाहिए आप लोगों को, ये होंगे भी उसमें. या निर्वृति तनुभृतां तव पाद पद्मा ध्यानात् भवज्जन कथा श्रवणेन वा स्यात्
ध्यानाद्भवज्ञानकथा श्रवणेन वा स्यात्
सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमन्यपि नातमाभूत्
ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमानपि
किं
नाथमाभूत्
त्वन्तकासि लुलितात् पततां विमानात्
तथासि पततां विमानात्.
My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from the meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about your glories from pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda, wherein one thinks himself merged in the impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from the devotional service, then what to speak of the temporary blissfulness of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by the separating spot of time. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planet, he falls down in due course of time.
So in this verse, he is establishing the superiority of devotional service bhakti. He says, Ya nirvriti. Nirvriti means the happiness. Oh my Lord, the happiness which I am getting in two things. Tava pad padma dhyan and bhavat jana katha shravan. ये दो वस्तु में जो आनंद है, nirvriti, the bliss, which I am experiencing in meditating on your lotus feet and hearing from your devotees your katha, bhavat jana katha shravan. This happiness, it is sa brahmani. It is beyond the stage of brahmananda. Because the Lord may say, अच्छा मुक्ति चाहिए, मुक्ति चल के कहाँ चाहिए, ब्रह्मानंद चाहिए. He says, अरे ब्रह्मानंद is insignificant. सा ब्रह्मणि स्वमहिमन्यपि नाथमाभूत्. Brahmananda is defeated in front of mukti, in front of bhakti. Then what to speak of kintu antakasi? What to speak of going to heavenly planets, where the sword of time is always, moving. It is ended. The happiness of even heaven, it is unimaginable also. पूछने की जरूरत नहीं है. If Brahmananda is not even question, what to speak of heaven? So that is how, if Brahmananda is insignificant, Swarganand तो question नहीं है और जड़ानंद तो मतलब वो तो insignificant है कुछ. So Srila Prabhupada writes, okay, we'll see Chakravarti Thakur's purport first. Since you mentioned, so this we saw, since Lord is telling, you mentioned that Lord gives freedom from birth and death. क्या चाहिए आपको? मुक्ति, ब्रह्म मुक्ति चाहिए. He says, no. Though you say people desire this, wise do not desire. The bliss from meditating on your lotus feet and hearing pastimes from your devotees, it is never available even in Brahman. Brahman में कहाँ ये सब रहेगा? It is unimaginable. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the transcendental bliss derived from Shravanam Kirtanam cannot be compared to happiness derived by karmis or by jnanis or by yogis. What is this called as? One of the 6 qualities, secondary qualities of devotion. NOD describes. Sandrananda Visheshatma. उसके बाद वाला एक और है. नेक्स्ट क्वालिटी एक और क्या है? उसके पहले मोक्ष लघुताकृत. Moksha is insignificant in front of the Lord, in front of bhakti. So what to speak of position of karmi? So Prabhupada describes about, अच्छे से, Prabhupada never leaves a chance to, give all the bad words, royal bashing to karmis. Yanti devrata devan and shine punya marti lokam vishanti antakasi lulita patatam vimana. सब अच्छे से गाली दे देते हैं Prabhupada. So Prabhupada writes somewhere. Okay. First paragraph only, he writes, the yogis generally meditate on the form of Vishnu, but devotees not only meditate, but they engage in direct service. Where Kapiladev, which verse? Anyone remembers that verse where Kapiladev says, my devotees are not interested in liberation if there is no seva? Yeah. 5 types of liberation he says. And then he says, Diyamanam na grihnanti vina mat sevanam jana. Salukya sarishti samipya sarupya ekatvam pyuta. So that's what Prabhupada writes. Okay.
So the devotees, they don't even like any of the five, these five also they don't like. बिना सेवना
सेवा नहीं है तो फिर नहीं जाएंगे हम लोग. ब्रह्मानंद तो एनीवेज इन क्वेश्चन साहित्य तो क्वेश्चन ही नहीं है. वो पर्सनल लिबरेशन इज आल्सो डिजायरेबल इफ देयर इज सेवा, because there are some people who go to Vaikuntha, they don't do seva, they are just absorbed in enjoying the happiness of Vaikuntha. सुना है ना, सुख ऐश्वर्योत्तर मुक्ति, अरे बताया तो है आपको, सुख ऐश्वर्योत्तर मुक्ति and prem sevottar mukti. There are 2 types of Vaikuntha liberation. Sukha Aishwaryottar means those who are practicing, those who are jnanis and they become devotees. If the bhakti is prominent, then they are liberated, they are promoted to Vaikuntha, but they are not so much interested in serving. They are happy in just being in Vaikuntha and acknowledging the supremacy of the Lord and enjoying the bliss of Vaikuntha. So we are not interested in that. We are interested in Prem Sevottar Mukti. So that's how it is.
They are not even Shanta Bhaktas.
They are not Shanta Bhakta.
They are not even that.
So the process of devotional service is very glorious. And then in the next verse, he glorifies association of devotees. Bhakti muhu pravahtam tvai me prasango bhuyadananta mahatam amalashayanam yenanjasolvanamuro vyasanam bhavadhim neshe bhavadgunakathamritapanamattaha.
Maharaj continued, O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees to engage in your transcendental loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nascent ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire like vapors. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about the transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent.
So then he asks for the association. Bhakti muhu pravahatam. Oh my Lord, please engage me in your transcendental loving service. Muhu. Muhu means, ये मुहु बहुत बार आता है ये वर्ड. मुहु का मतलब क्या होता है? Again and again, constantly. Muhu. And not alone. Tvai me prasango. In association of your devotees, give me your devotion. Oh my Lord, you are Ananta, you are unlimited, you are Amalashayana, you are always situated in uncontaminated state of life. The Lord, hearing all these wonderful prayers, he may say, ठीक है, ये सब तो आप बोल रहे हैं, but still you'll have fear of this material existence, right? You're not asking for liberation. How will you cross this material world? So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Dhruva raises his hands in pride and says, Oh my Lord, I am not even concerned about that. क्यों? ये नांजा सोल, he gives 4 adjectives to this material world पहले तो. ulbana, uru, vyasanam, bhavabdhi. This material world which is ulbana, it is blazing. Uru, it is intense. Or vyasanam. Vyasanam means full of dangers. And bhavabdhi, it is ocean. He says, anjasa, I will cross it very easily. पहले इतना बड़ा बड़ा बोल के anjasa I will cross. क्यों? It will be easy for me. Neshye. Neshye means I will cross. And I will not even realize when I have crossed because Bhavad Guna Katha Amrit Pan Madda. I'll be intoxicated. An intoxicated person, when he reaches home, how he reaches home, doesn't even realize. But the glory is, a person is intoxicated in this world, he can't reach home on his own. But a person who is intoxicated in Bhavad Guna Kathamrit, he perfectly reaches home. So he says, I am not even caring about this. ये तो मतलब क्वेश्चन ही नहीं है मेरे लिए. I will definitely cross. So that is the glory of devotional service. The glory of devotee association. So Srila Prabhupada writes, the significant point in Maharaj's Dhruva's statement is he wanted association. मतलब भगवान सामने खड़े हैं और बोल रहे हैं मुझे एसोसिएशन चाहिए. यहाँ पे एसोसिएशन में बोलते हैं बस हो गया भाई. Transcendental devotional service cannot be complete, and cannot be relishable without the association. If somebody asks, अच्छा ये भक्तों से मुक्ति कब मिलेगी पहले बताइए. तो भक्तों से मुक्ति लेके करेंगे क्या? How will you discuss कृष्ण कथा? परस्परानु कथनम कैसे होगा फिर? We have therefore established international society. Anyone who is trying to be aloof from this Krishna consciousness society and yet engage in Krishna consciousness, he is living in great hallucination. It is clear from the statement of Dhruva Maharaj. Prabhupada quotes this Satam Prasangam. Only in association of pure devotees can the words of the Lord be fully potent and relishable. So we established this Krishna consciousness movement to engage 24 hours. मायावादी फिलोसफर में क्वेश्चन, आप बहुत खुश हैं भक्तों के संग में, भाई संसार से कैसे निकलोगे? This is not in question only for me. I will cross very easily. And in fact, for a devotee, this world is not at all miserable. Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. Because यहाँ पे भी भक्ति कर रहे हैं, वहाँ पे भक्ति करेंगे. That is the glory of devotional service. The purport of this statement is by Dhruva is that devotional service in association of devotees is the cause of development of further devotional service. That is the glory of devotional service in association. Chandanam Shitalam Loke Chandanadapi Chandrama Chandra Chandana Yor Madhye Shitala Sadhu Sangati. Chandra is Shital, Chandan is Shital. Chandana Shitalam Loke. Chandan sandalwood. Sandalwood is cooling. Chandana Shitalam Loke. More cooling than Chandana. Chandana is Chandrama, the cooling sun rays, moon rays. Chandra Chandanayor Madhye. Apart amongst all this, even better is Shitala Sadhu Sangati. कभी कभी ऐसा लगता नहीं है बट ऐसा है. शीतला नहीं लगता है साधु संगति. But Ramananda Rai, when Mahaprabhu asked Ramananda Rai, Dukkha Madhye Kaun Dukkha Hoy Gurutar, what is the greatest distress? Krishna Bhakta Virah Bina Dukkha Nahi Dekhi Par. ज्यादा लग रहा है. So that is how association of devotee is. ये सुभाषित होगा. हाँ, ढूंढना पड़ेगा. Shit is written by some great learned. It is a poetic compilation by some learned souls, not from scriptures. हाँ सब अच्छे अच्छे. Prabhupada writes, by devotional service only one is elevated to Goloka. There are no Gyanis in devotion in Vaikuntha, Goloka. वहां पे कोई योगी नहीं मिलेंगे आपको. इनफैक्ट when Uddhav went to Vrindavan कि भाई चलो ज्ञान देंगे, he found that some gopis are already doing meditation. बोले तो ऑलरेडी अच्छे नेक्स्ट लेवल पहुंच चुके हैं, ये क्या मेडिटेट कर रहे हैं भाई. क्या बोले हो, कैसे भूलना है, हाउ टू ब्रिंग कृष्णा आउट ऑफ आवर माइंड. ये तो उल्टा चल रहा है इधर. Prabhupada writes, there is only devotional service in Goloka. For the activities of devotional service in this world and spiritual world are same. वहां पे जाके और क्या करना है, वही करना है, chanting ही करना है. The result of chanting is more chanting. The result of seva is more seva. The means and the end are the same. What's the difference? Prabhupada gives a simple example. Ripe mango and unripe mango. इधर कच्चा है, उधर एक पक जाएगा. बस लटके रहिए, पक जाएंगे, इधर इधर ही पक जाएंगे. नहीं तो पकाएंगे डिवोटीज आपको. They'll make us more mature. So it becomes more tasteful and relishable. The mango, it is tasty, but when it is ripe, it becomes tastier. So that's how the association is the highest aspiration of all the devotees. Even Prahlad Maharaj also asks for the association. क्या बोलते हैं उसमें? Getting that verse. Prahlad Maharaj also asks for association of devotees. The Lord is appearing in front of him. He is asking, I want association. Soham priyasya surida paradevataya lila kathastava narsimha. My Lord, I want to be in association of your devotees and hear your katha. Okay, he says, I'll be drunk. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, I'll be drunk with tasting the nectar of your qualities and pastimes. The qualities of material life, such as rivalry, ignorance, and hatred, cannot make this drunkard suffer. Because if a drunkard is walking and he is just going from this side to that side, उसके ऊपर पानी डालो, उसको गाली दो, उसको कुछ भी करो, no effect. The person who is drunk in qualities of the Lord, no effect of ignorance, hatred, rivalry. So therefore, he is asking for association of devotees. We should understand that when Dhruva is asking for association, that means association is really the highest. Because you don't go to billionaire and ask 5 rupiya. If somebody is asking the Lord, who can give anything and everything, और ये मांग रहे हैं association, मुक्ति भी नहीं मांग रहे हैं, that means association must be something really great. That's why the devotees only ask for association. Because we may not be able to understand, because we are not yet purified. So we can just pray. So this pastime of Dhruva and Prahlad, Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit, they are discussing 100 times. Because this glorifies the association.
Some place like foreign countries where we do not, then we will be able to.
Even it is described in 5th canto, the sages of Satyuga, they want to take birth in Kali Yuga. Why?
We can do proms and we can together.
For 2 reasons. यहाँ पे सस्ते में काम होता है, जल्दी जल्दी मिलता है भक्ति. उधर तो क्या 60,000 साल तक करते रहो, भी हाथ उल्टा खड़े रहो, पानी में जाओ, ये करो वो करो. इधर खाली मुंह हिलाने से भगवान मिलते हैं, और क्या चाहिए. And he says you'll find many premi bhaktas in one place in Kali Yuga. In Satyuga it is not there. कोई ये इधर, कोई ये पेड़ पे है, कोई ये उधर पहाड़ में, कोई पानी के नीचे है. So that is the privilege available only in Kali Yuga. You'll find many devotees at one place. Many premi bhaktas, not Gyani Bhakta, not Yogi, premi bhakta. So that's how it is. So he says, Neshye bhavad guna katha mrit pan mattaha. The drunkard's ecstasy is to drink, get and faint, again get up, again drink, again faint. वो उनका एक्सटेसी है. तो इसलिए वो बोल रहे हैं मोह, अगेन एंड अगेन. फर्स्ट क्या बोलते हैं, निगम कल्पतरो में गलितम, क्या शुकमुखाद अमृत द्रव्य समृतम पिबत भागवतम रसमालय मुहुरहो. उसमें चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर राइट्स द सेम थिंग. मुहु मींस I will drink this nectar, I'll faint, again get up, again drink, again faint. That is the ecstasy. उसमें मजा आता है. So that's how it is. So when the drunkards, when they come together and drink, क्या मजा है? अकेले नहीं पी सकते, वो खूब जमेगा रंग. Why? What is difference when people they drink alone and drink in association? कुछ अलग होता है क्या? बोले हमको क्या मालूम. Two things increase when things are done in association. Quantity increases and quality increases. जो एक पैक पीता है वो 4 पी जाता है. When they come and discuss, इधर उधर की चर्चाएं हो रही हैं, so it becomes more relishful. Similarly, when we come in association of devotees and do something, we can do more and we can relish it more. That's how it is. Okay. प्रहलाद महाराज यही बोलते हैं, नैवोद्विजय पर दुरत्यय वैतरण्या त्वद्वीर्य गायन महामृत मग्न तृप्तः. I'll be intoxicated, magna. I am lamenting shocetato vimukacetasa indriyarte. I am just lamenting about the condition of people in this world. Bichare maya sukhaya bharam udvato vimudan, completely foolish people. So that's how Prabhupada writes. The last few lines, Prabhupada writes, devotional service performed according to the direction of spiritual master and injunctions and regulative principles of Shastras. And there is devotional service in spiritual world rendered directly in association of devotees of the Supreme Lord. They are both same. यहाँ पे भक्ति करो, भगवान की सेवा करो. They are both same. There is no change. The difference is that one stage is unripe and other is ripe. It is more relishable. So that's how the association of devotees, they purify us and they make us mature in the practice of devotional service. So Lord may say, well, but in this world there is so much of problem. So he says, because of the presence of identity with me and mine, it is difficult to avoid disturbance. Dhruva may say, why I'm asking for association of devotees? What is the glory in association? Because you may say, Arey, sansar mein to itna problem hai, so much difficulty is there. What is the glory in association of devotees? He says in the next verse. He says, association naturally gives detachment. Tena smarantyatitaram priyamisha martyam. Ye chan vada sutta surit griha vittadhara. Ye tvapchana bhavati apadara vinda. सौगन्धलुप्तहृदयेषु कृता प्रसङ्गः.
O Lord, who have a lotus navel, if a person happens to associate with a devotee whose heart always hankers after your lotus feet, seeking always their fragrance, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to me to person who doesn't care for.
Te na smaranti. They never even remember which is priya, which is very, very dear to those martya, those who are materialistic people. What they like, the devotees, when they are in association, they never even remember that. So what the materialistic persons are attached to? Sutta, Surit, Kriha, Vitta, Dara. They are never attached to all these things. O lotus naveled Lord, Abjanabha, Bhavadiya Padaravinda. When we practice devotional service in association of your devotees, then you know what we hanker for? We hanker for Bhavadiya Padaravinda only. We hanker for your lotus feet only. And our heart is completely conquered by that. Saugandha Lubdha Hridaya. By the fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord, one is completely conquered, doesn't desire anything else. So devotees, they naturally get detached. Just like the gopis, it comes in the 10th canto. The gopis, they are telling anybody who hears the pastimes of the Lord, of Krishna, they give up their wretched homes and they themselves become wretched. यदनुचरत लीला कर्णपीयूष विप्रुट सकृत अदन विधूता द्वंद्व धर्मा विनष्टा सपदि गृह कुटुंबम दीनमुत्सृज्य दीना बहव इह विहंगा भिक्षुचर्याम चरन्ति. They are discussing. You are seeing so many beggars moving in Vrindavan. They have left. They are rich. They are very wealthy people, rich people. They have left everything because anucharit leela, inki leela sun li. Yad anucharit leela karna piyush. They drank their nectar through the years. What happened? Sakrit adana vidhuta. They became purified of all the contaminations. Dvando dharma vinashta. They became free from the dualities of this world. And Deenam utsrijya deena. They gave up their wretched families and they became wretched beggars. And there are many who are moving like that in Vrindavan. So that's how anyone who associates with devotees naturally becomes detached. Srila Prabhupada writes, the special advantage in devotional service is that devotees not only enjoy transcendental pastimes of the Lord, but they are also detached from their bodies. Yogis are not detached from their bodies. They take care of the bodies nicely. They perform all the gymnastic exercises. Yam niyam asan. Asan pranayam क्यों करते हैं? Body fit रखना है. Yogis are not very interested in devotional service. They want to regulate breathing process. This is simply a bodily concern. Dhruva says the devotee has no more bodily interest. From the very beginning, therefore, without wasting time in bodily exercises, the devotee searches out a pure devotee and simply by his association becomes more advanced than a yogi. So that's how it is. And then Prabhupada writes, he writes a line somewhere about self-realization. He says self-realization means to be indifferent to the gross and subtle needs of the body. So subtle need means puja la, pratishtha, man, samman. And gross needs means taking care of the body just for enjoyment. So a devotee naturally becomes detached. Chakravarti Thakur in the purport, he quotes this verse of Kapila Dev, how practice of devotional service destroys the subtle body very gradually. Jarayati ashu yakosham nigirnam analoyatha. Just like the fire burns the firewood slowly. Anyone remembers? We had heard the description of how Bhakti is compared to digestive fire. एक एग्जाम में टेस्ट में क्वेश्चन भी आया था शायद. Anyone remembers why? Why Bhakti is compared to digestive fire? Anyone remembers anything?
Just like digestive fire digests what we eat. Similarly, Bhakti burns out all the material
Yes.
desires
everything.
So the digestive fire absorbs the nutrients and burns away waste products, waste material, unwanted things. Similarly, bhakti nourishes the good qualities and destroys the bad qualities. What else? Digestive fire takes time to digest. ऐसा नहीं कि अभी खाया तो next ready 5 minute में. Takes time to purify. Third, if the digestive fire is good, one does not have to do any extra gymnastics. कुछ चूर्ण खाने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है. Bhakti is sufficient to purify us. Nothing else is needed. Jarayati ashu yakosham nigiram analoyatha. So now, after glorifying the process of bhakti, glorifying association of devotees, now he's in the next verse, he glorifies the form of the Lord which he is seeing in front of him. So the Lord, he may say, well, if that is so, then why are you worshipping the Lord with a desire for position greater than that attained by your forefather? आपको तो समझ गया कि ये सब तो फालतू है, संसार का है. Why are you asking? So then he replies in the next verse, glorifying the form of the Lord. Tiryannaga dvijasari sripadeva daitya मर्त्यादिभिः परिचितं सदसद्विशेषम् रूपं स्थविष्टमजते महदाद्यनेकम् नाथ परं परमवेद्विन यत्र वादः.
My dear Lord, O Supreme Unborn, I know that the different varieties of living entities, such as animals, trees, birds, reptiles, demigods, and human beings, are spread throughout the universe, which is caused by the total material energy. And I know that they are sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest, but I have never experienced the supreme form. I behold as I see you now. Now all kinds of methods of theorizing have come to an end.
So he says, "O my dear Lord, O Supreme Unborn, I know the different varieties of living entities. Tiryak, Naga, Dvija, Sarisripa, Deva, Daitya. These are various species of life I know. And I know they become manifest and sometimes they become unmanifest. Sad, asad, vishesh. But, oh my Lord, Rupam Sthavishtam Ajate, the form which I am seeing now, this form I have never experienced. Natah param. There is no form which is greater than this form. I know all the various forms of species of life, but this form of yours, O my Lord, this is beyond all the material things. Nayatravada. So therefore, all kinds of theorizing have come to an end. I don't want anything of this material world. That's how he has come to this conclusion. He says, I don't want anything, O my Lord. O Supreme Lord, Chakravarti Thakur writes, O Supreme Lord, I did not know your form of consciousness and bliss. I also did not know your form as Brahman. Because I am ignorant, I am a child, I thought only of insignificant things. I didn't know your form, I didn't know about Brahman, I didn't know about this beautiful form, so I asked for material things. Now, being touched by your conch, I have understood the meaning of the Vedas. Therefore, I am offering my prayers. So Srila Prabhupada writes how everything in this world is coming from the Lord. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina. Prabhupada focuses on that. And by the practice of devotional service, one can realize the Lord. Bhaktya mama vijanati. So Dhruva, he compares Prabhupada writes, he compares his previous state of understanding now with the perfection of understanding. पहले क्या सोचता था, अभी क्या पता चला है मेरे को. The position of living entity is to render service. Unless he comes to the stage of appreciating the Lord, he engages in service of various forms. So only by the practice of devotional service, no one can appreciate the form of the Lord. Otherwise, it is impossible to appreciate the form of the Lord. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashratam parambhava jananto mama bhutam aishwaram. So Dhruva, he realized the glory of the Lord by his mercy, by Lord's mercy. Unless Lord shows mercy, nobody can understand the glories of the Lord. So the Lord, after hearing all this, he may ask, well, if you know me now, tell me who I am. Bata. So in next 3 verses, Lord answers this. Dhruva answers this. Who is the Lord? Kalpante dadakhilam jatarena grihanan shete puman swadrigananda sakastadanke yanna visenduruh kanchana loka padma गर्भे दिवान भगवते प्रणतोस्मि तस्मै.
My dear Lord, at the end of each millennium, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vaibhav Vishnu, dissolves everything manifested in the universe into his belly. He lies down on the lap of Sage Nag. From his navel sprouts a golden lotus flower on his stem, and on that lotus, Lord Brahma is created. And I can understand that you are the same Supreme Godhead. I therefore offer my respectable obeisances on you.
So he is now telling you are the same Supreme Lord. गर्भोदक्षाय विष्णु, क्षीरोदक्षाय सब आप ही हैं. आपसे ही ब्रह्मा जी आ रहे हैं. आपसे ही पूरा संसार आ रहा है. You annihilate this material universe. So Prabhupada writes, Yasmin vigyate sarvam evam vigyatam bhavati. By knowing the Lord, one knows everything. So those who are not devotees of the Lord, they cannot understand. They cannot understand the various manifestations of the Lord. But the devotee understands everything. Prabhupada says, sometimes the atheists, they argue, how can a flower stem sprout from a navel of Garbhodaksha Vishnu? They consider all the statements to be stories. So they can't accept the authority. They become more and more atheistic. But the devotee knows the Lord by the grace of the Lord. When Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is discussing with Gopinath Acharya, गोपीनाथ आचार्य बोलते हैं ये ना महाप्रभु जो है सुप्रीम लॉर्ड है. तो ये बोलते हैं लॉर्ड तो त्रियुगी है. लॉर्ड नेवर अपीयर्स इन कलियुगा. हाउ कैन आई अंडरस्टैंड दैट ही अपीयर्स इन कलियुगा? तो बहुत सारा डिस्कशन होता है. एंड देन गोपीनाथ आचार्य सेज यू विल नेवर अंडरस्टैंड बिकॉज यू हैव नॉट रिसीव्ड द मर्सी ऑफ द लॉर्ड. सार्वभौम भट्टाचार्य भी कम नहीं. अच्छा, यू हैव रिसीव्ड मर्सी ऑफ द लॉर्ड, यू अंडरस्टैंड. सो बिकॉज लाइक वो रिलेशन वैसा है. ही इज लाइक ब्रदर इन लॉ. So then after Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya receives the mercy of the Lord, then Gopinath Acharya, he says, now you have received the mercy, that's why you are understanding. Meru Mandara Dubai Jata Tata Eidui Gandashay Lihar Ki Katha. You know, when Ramananda Rai and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they are playing in Indradyumna Sarovar like children. And Mahaprabhu says, Gopinath Acharya को बोलते हैं इनको थोड़ा शांत करो. पंडित गंभीर दुहे प्रामाणिक जन बाल चांचल्य करे कराह वर्जन. They are playing like children, stop them. So ये बोलते हैं अरे महाप्रभु, शुष्क तर्क खली खाइते जन्म गिला जा. इसने पूरे जीवन भर तर्क का खली खाया है. खली मतलब ड्राई केक सपला, उससे सब तेल निकाल दिया, वो खाया. शुष्क तर्क खली खाइते जन्म गिला यार. तारे लीलामृत पियाओ एक कृपा तुम्हार. You are making him drink the nectar. Your mercy can drown even Meru and Mandar. These are like small pebbles. So only by the mercy of the Lord one can know the Lord. So Prabhupada writes that. It is said that anyone who has even a little of Lord's grace can understand his glories. Nachanya ekopi chiram vichinvan athapi te deva padambujadvaya prasadaleshanugrihita evahi. Unless one receives a drop of mercy of the Lord, nobody can understand. Janati tattvam bhagavan mahimno na chanya ekopi chiram vichinvan. Otherwise, they can never understand. They can keep on speculating for lifetimes. So Prabhupada is writing that here. Now in the next verse, he continues. I'll recite the verse. It's a little difficult. त्वं नित्यमुक्तपरिशुद्धविबुद्ध आत्मा कूटस्थ आदिपुरुषो भगवान् स्यधीशः यद्बुद्ध्यवस्थितिम् अखण्डितया स्वदृष्ट्या द्रष्टास्तावदिमखो यतिरिक्त आसे. Translation.
You are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual act. You are eternally liberated, your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you are existent in the supersoul without change. You are the original personality of Godhead, full of opulences, and you are eternally the master of the three modes of material nature. Thus, you are always different from the ordinary living nature. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, yet you stand aloof and are the entire results of all factors.
So when Dhruva says you lie down in the ocean on the bed of Ananta Shesh, you sleep. So Lord may say, Acha, living entities also sleep. So what is the difference? How am I different from the jivas? Because I also sleep. He says, no, my Lord, you are Nitya Mukta. You are eternally liberated. You are uncontaminated, Parishuddha, Vibuddha. You are full of knowledge. You are Supreme Soul. You are Kutastha, Adi Purusha. All those wonderful qualities. List of qualities are described here. Tradhisha, the word used here is Tradhisha. He is a master of three. So what are the three? इसमें three क्या है? Master of three. Okay, you are the master of three modes. You are the master of three worlds. You are the master of three gunavatars. You are the master of three shaktis. You are the master of three pairs of opulences. इन सबके मास्टर आप ही हैं. हाँ, उसमें भी आता है ये सब. Yes. So he says, your buddhi avasthitim, the Lord's intelligence is always stable. Jiva's intelligence, they get contaminated. They get disturbed. But you never get disturbed. You are avasthiti, buddhi avasthiti. Akhanditaya. The jiva, he has contaminated conditional vision. Your vision is akhandita, never gets contaminated. And you are adhimakho, you are the supreme enjoyer. So Dhruva is stating the difference between the jivas and the Lord here. So Prabhupada in the purport, he writes in great detail about that. Okay, we'll not go into the detail. Now, Dhruva, he offers respects to Brahman in the next verse, because supreme person is the cause of all causes, he is the cause of Brahman also. So he describes the qualities of Brahman. Yasmin viruddhagatayo yanisham patanti vidyadayo vividishaktaya anupurvyat tad brahma vishwa bhavame kamananta madhyam ananda matrama vikaramaham prapatye. Translation.
My dear Lord, in your impersonal manifestation of Brahman, there are always two opposing elements, knowledge and ignorance. Your multi-energy are continually manifest, but the impersonal Brahman, which is undivided, original, changeless, unlimited, and blissful, is the cause of the material manifestation. Because you are the same impersonal Brahman, I offer my respectable obeisances unto you.
So he is glorifying the Brahman feature, describing the various qualities of Brahman. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Brahma Samhita, it is said, Brahman is the effulgence of the Lord's body. And In the next paragraph, he quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes that this Brahman is meant for persons who are essentially very advanced, but still they are not able to understand the personal feature. They are not Mayavadis, it is about Brahmavadis. They are called as Jnana Mishra Bhakta. So Dhruva is offering obeisances to the Brahman. And he describes some more about Brahman. And he describes about the various energies of the Lord. He says in the next paragraph, although apparently Brahman seems to be devoid of energy, factually it has different energies working under the headings of Vidya and Avidya, as Ishopanishad describes in great detail. So now, after hearing all these things, the Lord may say, okay, I know you, I agree that you know my Swarupa, and I know that you have no material desires, but still I will fulfill your desire which you had earlier. So Dhruva, he prays in the next verse, I don't want all that. I want the sweetness of bhakti at your lotus feet. So that is the last verse he offers. Recite this. सत्याशिषो हि भगवं स्तव पादपद्मम्
सत्याशिषो हि भगवन्
सत्यास्तु हि भगवन् तव पद्मपाद्म
आशीर्षानुभजतः पुरुषार्थमूर्तेः
आशीस्तव भुजथ
एवं
पुरुषार्थम्
वर्य भगवान् परिपाति दीनान्
अत्रैवम् अर्य भगवान्
वा श्रेयो
परिपाति दीना
अनुग्रहकातरोऽस्मान्
वासुदेव भक्तः अनुग्रहति.
My Lord, O Supreme Lord, you are the supreme personified form of all benedictions. Therefore, for one who abides in your devotional service with no other desire, worshipping your lotus feet is better than becoming king and lording it over a kingdom. That is the benediction of worshipping your lotus feet. To ignorant devotees like me, you are causelessly merciful maintainer, just like a cow who takes care of the newly born calf by supplying milk and giving it protection from attack.
So, O my Lord, you are Satya Ashisho. You are personified form of benediction, Satya Ashish. And Ashish Tathanu Bhajata Purushartha Murte, one who abides in your devotional service with no other desire. If I want any other desire, it is useless. It is insignificant. Your devotional service is better. You are Purushartha Murti. You can give highest benediction. The benediction of worshipping your lotus feet, Tava Pada Padma, that is better than getting anything of this world. Because I am ignorant, please don't give me any of this benediction. It's like the calf may not know what is good for him, but the cow takes care of the calf by supplying milk. Similarly, I may not know what is good for me. You are like cow. Please show mercy. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, Dhruva prays for the sweetness of prema. O Lord, your feet are the highest bliss, the supreme result, more than ashisha, more than acquisition of kingdom. After a few lines, he says, the Lord thinks because he is a boy, even though he does not know pure bhakti to me, I will give him a taste of pure bhakti result, my sweetness. So the Lord is thinking like this. So you are giver of, you are eager to give mercy. He says, I may not know, but you know, and you are always merciful to wretched souls. So therefore, you are always ready, like a cow giving mercy to the calf. So please give me that sweetness of bhakti. Let me have the taste of the sweetness of bhakti and protect me from the obstacles of bhakti in the form of material desires. So he's saying the Lord can give dharma, artha, kama, moksha, but that is not the highest benediction. So therefore, Bhagavatam begins with dharma projita kaitavatra parma. I am like an ignorant devotee. Please don't give me any of this. So Prabhupada writes, in the middle of the purport, he says, the Lord is so merciful that not only does he fulfills the desire of a devotee who is driven by ignorance and desire for material benefit, but he also gives such a devotee all protection. This is the way to approach the Lord, Prabhupada writes. So that's how Dhruva, although he had ulterior motives, now he is thanking that, oh my Lord, you gave me your darshan and I don't want anything. In Hari Bhakti Sudhoday, the famous verse of Dhruva Maharaj is quoted there. स्थानाभिलाषी तपसी स्थितोऽहं त्वां प्राप्तवान् देव मुनीन्द्र गुह्यं काचं विचिन्वन् अपि दिव्यरत्नं स्वामिन् कृतार्थोऽस्मि वरं न याचे. I was looking for the broken pieces of glass. You gave me diamond. So that's how the beautiful prayers of Dhruva comes to end. So now Maitreya Muni, he continues the discussion. He says, now my dear Vidurji, yeah, translation somebody can read 18th verse. Okay, before that, Prabhuji आपका connect करना पड़ेगा. Okay, so now Vidurji, Maitreya Muni, he continues the discussion. Yeah, somebody can read the translation, please.
Great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaja, who had good intentions in his heart, finished his prayer, the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, who is very kind to his devotees and servants, congratulated him, speaking as follows.
So the Lord is now congratulating Dhruva. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha
Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
Vedaham te Vyavasitam
Vedaham te Vyavasitam
Hridirajan Balaka Tat Prayachami Bhadram te
तत्प्रयच्छामि भद्रं ते
Durapam Api Suvrata.
पापमपि सुव्रता.
Personality of Godhead said, my dear Dhruva, son of the king, you have executed pious vows, and I also know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune unto you.
इतना सारा प्रार्थना करने के बाद भगवान बोल रहे हैं, I will fulfill your desire. So first word he says is Ved Aham. I know your desires. Anywhere else, we have heard Lord is telling, I know your desires. I know why you have come. नहीं, जब कोई भगवान के पास जाके प्रार्थना करता है, भगवान बोल रहा है, I know your problem. Okay, करदम मुनि के केस में ठीक है. Anywhere else? Anywhere else, the Lord says, I know your desire, I know problems. जाइए वापस जाइए, solve करूंगा मैं. एक अभी प्रहलाद सब जब देवता सब जाते हैं ना, don't go, they pray to the Lord within their heart. When Hiranyakashipu is troubling them, torturing them, devtas they pray. They can't go to Shirodakshay Vishnu. They are praying in their heart. And the Lord first he says is, Ma Bhaishta, do not fear, I am there, I know your problems and I will solve it, but be patient. I know your problems. फिर वो 10th कैंटो में आता है भूमि देवी when she goes to ब्रह्मा और सब जो के विष्णु जी के पास जाते हैं, there also Lord says, I know your problem. So the Lord always knows, always begins, I know your problem, I know your desire, and I will fulfill it. Don't worry. Vedaham te vyavasitam. I know you have executed such difficult, intense vows. I know your desire. Tat prayachami. I shall reward you. Although what you want is durapa. You want a kingdom greater than your great grandfather. It is very difficult. पदम त्रिभुवन उत्कृष्टम जिगीशो ना चाहिए. But Lord says, I'll give. So what is greater than the position of Brahma? In this material universe, the abode of the Lord is greater than Brahma's position. इस संसार में भी है ना भगवान का, Lord stays. So Lord is ready to give his own abode to Dhruva. मेरे जगह पे आप रहो. So actually, yes, Lord has 3 extension centers in material universe. 3 ऐसा एम्बेसीज है. एक है यहाँ पे, एक तो ब्रह्मा जी ब्रह्मा सत्यलोक के ऊपर है, एक है ध्रुवलोक का, एंड एक है वो सूर्य देव का चैरेट कौन से माउंटेन के ऊपर घूमता है, वहां पे भी एक है भगवान जी का. लॉर्ड हैज क्रिएटेड दैट.
लोकालोक.
हाँ जी,
लोकालोक.
नहीं लोकालोक पे नहीं घूमता. एनीवेज, so the Lord, he is ready to give to Dhruva his abode. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, Dhruva wanted a kingdom greater than his great grandfather, and Lord is telling, okay, I am ready, I'll give you. So Prabhupada writes, the fact that Dhruva was very much afraid in his mind, for he had aspired for material benefit, and it was hampering him from reaching love of God. So the Lord is assuring that don't worry, Dhruva, he would not be bereft of Lord's love, and you will get material benedictions also. So Prabhupada writes, generally, the Lord does not award pure devotee material opulence, even though he may desire it. But Dhruva's case was different. He knew that he was such a great devotee that in spite of having material opulence, he would never be deviated. So what is the criteria? भगवान किसको समृद्धि देते हैं, किसको नहीं देते हैं? If the Lord thinks, if the Lord knows कि भाई ये भक्ति छोड़ के नहीं जाएगा, so he gives. It's like Sudama, when he is going back and Lord didn't give him anything. So he is contemplating, why Lord didn't give me anything? Adhanoyam dhanam prapya madhyan uchchayar natu maam bhajet. Iti karuniko nunam dhanam me bhuri nadadat. So Lord thought Adhano, he is beggar, he is poverty stricken. Dhanam prapya, if he gets money, madhyan will become intoxicated. Natu maam bhajet. मेरा भजन छोड़ देगा. इति कारुणिको नूनम धनम में भूरि नारदा. That's why mercifully Lord didn't give me money, Lakshmi. So Prabhupada writes here, the Lord gave all the opulence to Dhruva because he knew that he would never be deviated. The Lord gave to his devotees. Lord gave to Prahlad. Prahlad तो बोले चाहिए ही नहीं, मांगना ही नहीं है, तो भगवान बोले ठीक है मैं अपनी तरफ से देता हूँ, जबरदस्ती में दिए. वो तो भक्ति उसके लिए किए ही नहीं. He was already a pure devotee, but still Lord gave him. So that's how the Lord, when he thinks that okay, this person he'll handle. Lord took everything away from Avanti Brahman because he was not able to practice bhakti because of that. So the Lord does whatever is good for his devotee, whatever makes a devotee advance. So Dhruva, although he is regretting, nahi chahiye, but still Lord is giving because the Lord knows he will not be deviated. Okay, so what he gave, Lord says in the next 2 verses. Translation, please. The Lord is telling what I'll give you.
The personality of God will continue, my dear Dhruva. I shall award you with a glowing planet known as the Pole Star, which will continue to exist even after the dissolution at the end of the millennium. No one has ever ruled this planet. It is surrounded by orbit around a central pole for the purpose of crushing grains, keeping the pole star to their right. All the stars inhabited by great sages like Dharma, Agni, Kashyapa, and Sukra circumambulate this planet, which continues to exist even after the dissolution.
So Lord is himself describing the glories of Dhruva Loka. So all the planets, they'll revolve around Dhruva Loka, keeping the pradakshina karte hain, keeping the Dhruva Loka on their right side. That's the glory of Dhruva Loka. So Prabhupada writes, although the pole star existed before its occupation by Dhruva, it had no predominating deity. Dhruva is the center of all the stars and solar systems. In the 5th canto, it will be described that all the luminaries, they circumambulate, keeping Dhruvalok as the center. Prabhupada writes, Dhruva wanted the best of the planets, and although it was a childish prayer, the Lord satisfied his demand. A small child may demand something from his father, which his father has never given to anyone else. Yet, out of affection, the father offers it to the child. Similar was Dhruva's case. Now, the specific significance of the planet is described: never be destroyed, never be annihilated. So this annihilation is the annihilation which happens at the end of the day of Brahma. All the lower 3 planetary systems are destroyed, but Dhruva is never destroyed. Okay. So Chakravarti Thakur, Prabhupada quotes him. Chakravarti Thakur comments that Dhruva Loka is one of the Loka like Shweta, Dvipa, Mathura and Dwarka. They are all eternal places in the kingdom of God. Okay. Next verse translation.
After your father goes to the forest and awards you the rule of his kingdom, he will rule continuously for the entire world for 36,000 years, and all your senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. You will never become old.
So if we see geographically, Dhruva Loka is below Jana Loka. The pole star, it is above heavenly planets, Bhu, Bhuva, Swar, then uske baad Tapalok hai, then pole star. Jana Tapa hai na, haan. So Swarga Lok ke upar hai pole star. And above that is Jana Loka. So geographically, it is not the highest position in the universe, but it is most important position. It is like in a company, if the CEO is on the 4th floor and बाकी सारे workers are on the upper floor, बोलेंगे अरे देखो हम ऊपर वाले floor पे रहते हैं. No, it is not like that. So the glories of Dhruva, it is much more than any Dhruva Loka is much more than any other planet of the world. So he's saying, you rule this world for 36,000 years, you will not become old, and then you will achieve that planet after ruling on this earth. So you stay in this earth for 36,000 years. After that, you will go to Dhruva Loka. Okay, next verse translation.
So that means when he was going, when the Vishnudutas came,
36,000 ho gaya ho na?
so but that is going to only Dhruva.
Yeah, he has gone to Dhruva Loka. He is still there in Dhruva Loka.
That is considered as a...
Yeah, Vaikuntha only. It is Vaikuntha Loka. Yeah. Next verse translation.
The Lord continued, sometime in the future, your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed...
Does this Dhruva Loka get destroyed, Prabhuji?
Sorry?
Does this Dhruva Loka get destroyed?
It doesn't get destroyed at the end of the day of Brahma. It always stays there till the universe is there. So Dhruva is still living in the Dhruva Loka. And after this universe will be destroyed, he will go back to spiritual world.
And what about the universe? And what about Dhruva Loka? What will happen to that?
Dhruva Loka will be destroyed.
It will be destroyed when When the life of Brahma is finished,
Yes,
then
when this
Dhruva Loka
universe
will
is
also
destroyed, the Dhruva Loka will be destroyed.
will
It's
be
like the entire
destroyed.
creation will be destroyed. Like that.
Okay, but at the end of the day of Brahma, it will not be destroyed.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The Lord continued, sometime in the future, your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting, he will be killed. Your stepmother, Suruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by a forest fire.
So Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he describes the dangers of Vaishnava Aparadha. When Suruchi offended Dhruva, he was not a devotee. Later on, he became devotee. So we should be careful. We should never think ये तो devotee नहीं है, इसको गाली दिया तो चलेगा. बाद में devotee बनना तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. So practically speaking, we have heard in the third canto, in 29th or some chapter, Kapila after describing the glories of devotion, he warns the devotees of the dangers in the path of bhakti. And he says, one should never criticize any living entity. One should never be hateful. And एक और उसमें बोलते हैं, दुष्यता पर कायम, one should not be hateful. One should never criticize. Or one more thing he says. So basically, a Vaishnava should live a offenseless life, never offending any living entity. That is essential. It is not that वैष्णव अपराध तो ज्यादा होता है, ये डिवोटीज नहीं है तो इनको तो कुछ भी बोलो तो चल जाएगा. We should be very, very careful in our dealings with every living being, whether he is a devotee or a non-devotee. Of course, if he is devotee, then it is very, very dangerous, Vaishnava Aparadha. And even if he is not a devotee, we cannot just do something wrong, do some mistake and get away with that. No, it is not like that. So we have to be really careful. So Prabhupada describes in the purport about the Vaishnava Aparadha. Okay. Next verse. Translation. Yeah.
The Lord continued, I am the heart of all sacrifices. You will be able to perform many great sacrifices and also be great charities. In this way, you will be able to enjoy the blessings of material happiness in this life, and at the time of your death, you will be able to remember.
So he says, I am the heart of sacrifices, Ishtva Mam Yagyaridayam. You will be able to do many yagyas, Yagya Pushkala Dakshine, you will be expert. And Bhuktva Cheha Shisa, you will be able to enjoy all the blessings of material happiness. Ante Mam Samsmarishyasi, you will remember me. So naturally, Prabhupada किसके ऊपर commentary देंगे यहाँ पे? Ante Mam Samsmarishyasi. So Prabhupada focuses on that. Ante Narayana Smriti. The purpose of the entire existence is to remember Krishna. All the dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all the varnas and the ashramas, they are meant for this purpose. And then what he'll say, what's the easiest way to remember the Lord? Chant the names, Sankirtan Yajna. Okay. We'll recite that next verse. Tato gantasi matsthanam sarvaloka namaskritam uparishtadrashibhyastvam
Uparishta
tato navartate yatah.
Kuto Navasate The personality of Godhead continues, my dear Shiva. After your material life in this body, you will go to my planet, which is always offered obeisances by the residents of all other planets. It is situated above the planets of the seven Rishis, and having gone there, you will never come back again to this material world.
Okay. Tato gantasi matsthanam. After living in this material, after living in this planet, this earth, Bhumandal, you will go to Matsthan. This Matsthan is Dhruvaloka, which is Sarvaloka Namaskritam, which is always offered obeisances by all the other residents. Uparishta, it is above the planets of the rishis. That means this is what confirms, ये लोग की बात चल रही है. सप्तऋषि के ऊपर है. Pole star is above the 7 stars, Saptarishi. And yato navartate gata, after going there, you will never come back in this world again. You will never come back to Bhumandal. Okay. So after this, the Lord went back to his abode, and Dhruva, he kept looking now. Very interesting. He has achieved the highest benedictions. आपको भक्ति भी मिलेगी.
Prabhuji, just one thing I wanted to ask you. So does Dhruva achieve perfection? He goes back to the spiritual world. He's not born again, right, Prabhuji?
So after he rules for 36,000 years, he ruled here. After Uttanpad, Dhruva ruled for 36,000 years. After 36,000 years, he has gone to now Dhruva Loka. And he'll stay there till the entire universe is there, and then he'll go back to eternal Vaikuntha. So that is how Dhruva is there. He's still there in that Dhruva Loka. That Dhruva Loka is not a material planet. It is a spiritual world only. It is in this material world, but it is not material planet. It is spiritual planet. It is like an embassy in the material world. So like that. Okay.
Thank you.
So although Dhruva achieved whatever he wanted, he got best of the benedictions, best of both worlds, material bhi mil gaya, spiritual bhi mil gaya. But what is the condition of Dhruva? Was he happy? Next verse says, Topi sankalpajam Vishnu. Pad 27th. Sorry, 27th verse, yeah. Sopi sankalpajam Vishnu Pada sevopasaditam Prapya sankalpa nirvanam
प्राप्य संकल्प
Nati
निर्वाणम
prito bhyagatpuram.
नाति पितुः
Despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaja was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home.
Nati prita, बेचारे खुश नहीं है. He is not pleased. Abhyagatpuram. And now he is returning home in a very sad state of mind. So although he has achieved the highest in this world, फिर भी उदास क्यों है? Why he is sad? Any thoughts?
Sad because of his silly, childish desire.
Yeah. Still he's thinking, how can I worship the Lord for such material foolish things? He is feeling sad because of his past impressions, past conditionings. That's how sadhaka may become a great devotee, but he should remain humble. कहाँ से आया था मैं? What was my thought? What was my desire? So that is how a sadhaka, he may become purified, but if he is sincere, then he will always remember his past. So Dhruva, although he has achieved what no one has achieved, still he was not satisfied. Because his attitude was now pure. So therefore, he is remembering what he had come for. So now Vidurji, he asks simple question. So Prabhupada writes, by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord in devotional service, Dhruva achieved the desired result. And last few lines Prabhupada writes, still when Dhruva returned home, he was not pleased. For although in pure devotional service, there is no demand from the Lord. Because of his childish nature, he had demanded something. So therefore he was not pleased. He was ashamed. क्या मांगा? क्या मांगने के लिए आया था? Vidurji now, he asks a simple question. But kyun bhai? Why he was not pleased? Vidura uvacha sudurlabham yat paramam padam hare
Sullabha
maya
yatparamam padam
vinastaccharanarchanarjitam
maya vinasyadevam
labdhvapya siddhartamivaik janmana katham samvatana pramanyatarthavet.
katham navam asamam
Sri Budara is poet, my dear Brahma, my dear Brahman. The word of Lord is very difficult to attain. It can be attained only by pure devotion. This alone pleases the most affectionate, merciful Lord. Guru Maharaj achieved this position even in his life, and he was very wise in his consciousness. Why then was he not very?
So Brahmana, Maitreya Muni, Sudurlabham, the abode of the Lord is difficult to obtain, Parampadam, and Dhruva, Labdhavapi, he attained that. एक जन्म में प्राप्त हो गया. एक जन्म क्या 6 महीने में प्राप्त हो गया. कथम समात्मानम, how? Why he was not pleased? He was arthavit. He was very wise. So he was wise, he knew that he has attained the highest. If somebody is not wise, he doesn't know the value of what he has received, then he may be sad. Usko to malum hai kya mil gaya. Why he was not pleased? Prabhupada writes, Arthavit. Arthavit means one who knows how to discriminate between reality and unreality. That means Paramhamsa. So Dhruva, he knew what he had received. It's like someone who is not aware of diamond. ही में से क्या मिला क्या दिया पता नहीं क्या पत्थर देके चला गया कुछ तो चमक रहा है. He was aware of what he had received. Why he was morose? Natural question. Maitreya Muni, he continues. Maitreya uvacha matu sapatnya vagbhanair
Matu
hridi vittastutan smaran
Siddhi
naichan mukti pater muktim
Naicham Mukti Pate
tasmat tapamupaivan.
Tasmat Tapam Paye
Maitreya answered, Guru Maharaj's heart, because fears for the error of the harsh words of his stepmother, was greatly ungraved, and thus when he fixed upon his goal of life, he did not forget her misbehavior. He did not demand actual liberation from this material world, but the end of his devotional service in the Supreme God had appeared before him. He was simply ashamed of the material demands he had in his.
So just ashamed of the demands. Naichan mukti pater muktim. I asked for material things from mukti pati, who can give liberation. I asked for material things. So he was sad because of that. So Prabhupada writes, this important verse has been discussed by many stalwart commentators. Why was Dhruva not pleased? A devotee is always free from any kind of material desires. In the material world, one's material desires are all most demoniac. Almost demoniac. One thinks of others as enemies, one thinks of revenge against enemies, one aspires to become the top leader, topmost person, others competes, they are all demoniac. मैंने 16 चैप्टर में प्रभुपाद कोट करते हैं. इसको हरा दिया है, I have defeated this, I have so many enemies, I have destroyed them, ये बचा है उसको ही मार दूंगा, then I'll become the controller, ईश्वरो हम भोगी, that is how it is. It's all demoniac. A pure devotee has no demand from the Lord. His only concern is to serve the Lord sincerely and seriously. And he's not at all concerned what will happen in the future. So Kulakshekar Maharaj, he says, I do not want any position of sense gratification. I simply want your service. कौन सा श्लोक बोलते हैं? Simply want to engage in your service perpetually. कौन सा श्लोक है? Anyways. Okay, so basically Dhruva was thinking, I got the opportunity to practice bhakti in Madhuvan. I got a guru like Narad Muni. Still what I was thinking of revenge. So that's why he was morose. Prabhupada writes, Krishna is so affectionate that and kind towards his devotee that although the motive might be impure, the Lord does not consider the motive. He is concerned with the service. That is very interesting. Even if somebody has material motives, the Lord doesn't see अरे किसके लिए आया है. He sees सेवा तो कर रहा है ना. Prabhupada writes a huge purport here. Will not go into the detail of the purport. A few of the lines I'll just read. So Prabhupada writes, if a devotee has a particular motive, the Lord directly or indirectly knows it. And therefore he does not leave the devotee's material desires unfulfilled. These are some of the special favors by the Lord to the devotee. Dhruva was offered Dhruva Loka, a planet that was never resided by any conditioned soul. When Dhruva became situated on Vasudeva platform, all his contamination was cleared. So therefore he was ashamed. Kya maang liya maine? He got a spiritual master like Narada. Still he was thinking of revenge. These were the causes for his moroseness. Even after he received all the desired benedictions. When Dhruva actually saw the Lord, there was no question of a revengeful attitude towards his stepmother, nor an aspiration. He was already purified. But still, the Lord knew that pehle chahiye na. He came for that. So therefore, he fulfilled the desires. Because somebody said, Samacharya says something, Lord was thinking, इसको नहीं दूंगा तो आगे कोई आएगा ही नहीं मेरे पास. Lord, ये तो बीट बैग पकड़ा के वापस भेज देते हैं. So I'll give it. I think I have, in some purport, Chakravarti Thakur writes this. That Lord was thinking, if I'll not give him, in future nobody will come to me. So Lord is thinking like that. That's why Lord gives. Okay. Dhruva, he did all the tapasya, he got darshan of the Lord fulfilled his material desires. But in spite of that, Dhruva became a pure devotee. Daksha, he did tapasya, he got darshan of the Lord fulfilled material desires of Daksha also, but he didn't become pure devotee. What was the difference?
He was God.
Okay, what else? मैं भूल गया ये. It has two mics. दूसरा लिया है. वो रख दीजिए तो second. Your voice can be heard also. Yeah. Why Daksha didn't become pure devotee? उन्होंने भी तपस्या
Because he had
किया.
offended a pure devotee like Shiva.
Okay, that was one reason. He offended Lord Shiva. Okay, और चलो ये तो बात की बात है. मतलब I am talking about after Daksha took birth from Prachetas. He did tapasya for 5 manvantar. बताया ना story. 5 manvantar तक तपस्या किए and then Lord appeared and Daksha offered prayers, Hamsa Guhya prayers. He had symptoms of ecstasy also, but still he didn't become pure devotee. Because he didn't do that tapasya under the guidance of pure devotee. He had known Narad Muni in his life. So that's how doing tapasya or doing devotional service under the guidance of a pure devotee is very important. Okay. After this, Dhruva, he is now thinking. He is now speaking. क्या हो गया? क्यों दुखी है वो? ध्रुव उवाच समाधिनानेक भवेन यत्पदम्
Adena naika bhavena yat padam.
Vidu sanandatya urdhvaretasah.
Vidu
Vidu
sanandaya.
Sananandaya
Masairaham shadbiramushya padayo.
Masaira
Maser Aham Padavi
padayo.
Chayam petya pagata prathanmati.
Chayam
Chaya Timati
Guru Maharaj thought to himself, endeavor to be situated in the shade of the lotus feet of the Lord is not an ordinary task, because even the great brahmacharis headed by Sanatana, who practice Ashtanga Yoga in trance, attained the shelter of the Lord's lotus feet only after many, many births. Within 6 months, I achieved the same result. Yet, due to my thinking differently from the Lord, I fell down from my position.
सोच रहे हैं कि ऐसा पोजीशन मिल गया, भगवान के दर्शन हो गए, still I fell down. 6 महीने में within 6 months I achieved the same result, still I fell down. He's feeling like that. That is how a devotee always feels. क्या गड़बड़ कर दिया मैंने? So he's really thinking, what did I ask? मतलब he's thinking, Lord gave me material benedictions because I was not pure in my intentions. I fell down because मुझे material benediction दे के गए हो. So I am fallen. That is Dhruva. So Prabhupada writes, he expected therefore that as soon as he met the Lord, in the middle of the purport, Prabhupada writes, as soon as he met the Lord, Lord would take him to his abode immediately. उनको लगा कि लेके जाएंगे मेरे को, वही तो बस हो गया. Without waiting, 36,000 तक वेट करने को बोल दिया है, क्या पनिशमेंट है? So Lord had offered him to the rule of world for 36,000 because in the beginning he was under the spell of materiality. This is how Lord Dhruva is thinking. I fell down. So devotee always remembers past sinful life and remains humble. और क्या बोल रहे हैं? अहोबत ममानात्म्यम अहोबत ममानात्म्यम
Oh Batmana
मंदभाग्यस्य पश्यता
भाग्यस्य पश्यत
भवच्छिदपादमूलम्
Bhavachidam
मत्वा
Padamulam
याचे यदन्तवात्.
यदन्तवात्
Sandana
Alas, just look at me. I am so unfortunate.
Yad
I
Ananta
approach the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality Godhead, who can immediately cut the chain of repetition of birth and death. But still, out of my foolishness, I prayed for things which are perishable.
Just look at me. Aho, alas, I am so unfortunate. Mandabhagya. क्या मांगा? पश्य, देखो मैं कितना मंदभाग्य हूँ. Bhavachida, the Lord's lotus feet can destroy the existence, material existence. But क्या मांगा? Antavat. I asked for the perishable things. So Prabhupada writes, Bishop Dev, he tells, therefore the human form of life is meant for achieving perfection. Parabhava tavad abodha jato. Living entity is born with a defeat in this world. He's already defeated many times in the past lives. Dobara defeat ho raha hai. Because in the pursuit of material enjoyment, nobody can win over. So one should not work for this. Tat prayaso na kartavyo. And Prabhupada writes, without mercy of the Lord, nobody can achieve perfection. Harim minana mritim taranti. Prabhupada quotes that. He quotes this many times. The Lord is Bhavachida. So the Vaishnava philosophy in the process of Krishna consciousness prohibits the devotees from all kind of material desires. The devotees anya abhilashita shunya. So he says, therefore, in other words, every one of us should be completely free from any material aspirations. ठीक है ना? So that's how. Everybody should be free from all the material aspirations. Otherwise, we'll have to lament like Dhruva. Or next is a very interesting thing. You know what he's saying in the next verse? ये देवताओं ने मेरी बुद्धि भ्रष्ट कर दी. मतिर्विदूषिता देवै पतद्भिर असहिष्णुभिः यो नारदवचस्तथ्यम्
वैष्णवी यो
नाग्रह्य
नारद
प्रसक्तमः.
नागराः सत्तमः
Since all the demigods who are situated in the higher planetary system will have to come down again, they are all envious of my being elevated to Vishnu Vaikuntha Loka by devotional service. These intolerant demigods have dissipated my intelligence, and only for this reason could I not accept the genuine benediction of the instructions of sage Narada.
नारद मुनि बोल रहे थे, छोड़ो ये सब ईर्ष्या ईर्ष्या, भक्ति करो. Matir Vidushita, these intolerant devatas, they have dissipated my intelligence. We'll see what is happening here. Patadbir, Ashahishnabhi, they are thinking they will fall down, so they didn't allow me to take to bhakti immediately. They are envious of me. सहिष्णुभी, देखो ना, क्या क्या सोचते हैं बेचारे डिवोटी लोग. Yo Narada Vachas Tathyam, I could not accept the pure words of Narad Muni. Nagrahisham asattama, I could not accept agrahisham. We should not take these words literally. These are coming out of frustration. Frustration में बहुत कुछ बोलता है आदमी. Just like when we do something wrong, and then if some superiors, we blame. आपको तो दिख रहा था ना, आप बता देते कि मैं गलत कर रहा था. It is a frustration. आपकी गलती, आपने बताया कि नहीं मेरे को. That is what is happening here with Dhruva Vichara. Maybe you had the power to stop me. Why you allowed me to do this mistake? So ये देवताओं की गलती है, देवता उससे.
But it's hard to imagine a 5-year boy is thinking so much.
अभी प्योर डिवोटी है बाबा. संजीव तखिल शक्ति है, स्वधामना है. He is a pure devotee. Don't go by the body now. He is a purified soul. He has all the knowledge. तो ये सब सोच रहे हो. So Prabhupada writes about Shine Punne, Devatas, they fall down. So Prabhupada writes in the middle of the second paragraph, Dhruva regretted very much that he neglected the instructions of his spiritual master. So Narada asked him, why should you bother about insult? He said, of course said to Dhruva since he was a child. What did he have to do with the insult? But Dhruva was determined to achieve the benediction. Therefore, Narada advised him to go back for time being. वो भी नहीं सुना. So ये सब सोच रहे हैं अभी. सुन लेना चाहिए था. Dhruva regretted very much that he could not take the instructions of his spiritual master, and his consciousness was contaminated. Still, the Lord is merciful. That due to Dhruva's execution of bhakti, he offered Dhruva the highest goal. So Dhruva, he's continuing his regret in next 3 verses. But we'll just finish this completely. I'll just read the translations. He says, Devi Maya Upashritya, I was under the influence of illusory energy. Being ignorant, Prasupta Iva Bhinnadrik, I was just sleeping. I was sleeping on the lap of illusion. I didn't see the reality. Therefore, I saw my brother as my enemy. Tapye dvitiye api asati. And I lamented, oh, these are my enemies. So Prabhupada writes, real knowledge is revealed to a devotee by the grace of the Lord. So a devotee never thinks in terms of enemies and friends. Prabhupada quotes this, Pandita Samadarshinaha. And then in the next verse, somebody can read the translation? 34th verse.
It is very difficult to satisfy the Supreme Personality of God. But in my case, although I have satisfied Supreme Soul of the whole universe, Super Soul of the whole universe, I have prayed only for useless things. My activities were exactly like treatment given to a person who is already dead. Just see how unfortunate I am, for in spite of meeting the Supreme Lord, who can cut one's links with birth and death, I have prayed for same condition.
You know what is happening here? बार बार एक ही चीज बोल रहे हो. He's repeating the same thing. That is how emotions are. डिस्ट्रेस में बेचारा एक ही चीज बार बार बोलता है ना, वही हो रहा है बेचारे इनके साथ, बार बार सेम चीज, इज रिपीटिंग द सेम थिंग. नेक्स्ट वर्स ट्रांसलेशन.
Because of my state of complete foolishness and paucity of pious activities, although the Lord offered me his personal service, I wanted material name, fame, and prosperity. My case is just like that of a poor man who, when he satisfied a great emperor who wanted to give him anything he might ask out of him, asked only a few broken grains of husked rice.
That's how he's completely frustrated. क्या मांग लिया, क्यों मांग लिया, क्यों नहीं सुना. That's how he is. स्वराज्यम यच्छतो मौढ़्याम. Lord offered me his personal service, but I asked for material things. मतलब भगवान ने ऐसा दिया नहीं, अभी पर्सनल, अभी चलो, फिर भी he is thinking like that. मानो में भिक्षितो बत, I wanted material things. ईश्वरात् क्षीण पुण्येन, because I had no punya, no devotion, so I asked for these things. He is giving like a falikarani vadana. I am just asking for some broken grains of husk rice. So Prabhupada talks about Swarajya. What is actual Swaraj? Swarajya means complete independence. A conditioned soul does not know what complete independence is. What is complete independence? Jivera Swarupohe Krishnera Nityadas. Mukti hitva anyatha rupam Swarupena Vyavasthiti. That is complete independence. It has come in the second canto, this verse. Mukti hitva anyatha rupam Swarupena Vyavasthiti. So when one is situated in the constitutional position, that is complete independence. Because a soul can do so many things when he is free from material clutches. Independent. Prabhupada writes, many great political leaders, they have tried to establish independence, but due to such so-called independence, people's dependence has only increased. Dependent on the rules and regulations of this government. It is not that they are free to do anything. The conclusion is that anyone who is engaged in loving service of the Lord should never ask for material prosperity from the Lord. The awarding of material prosperity simply depends on the rules and regulations of external energy. The pure devotees ask only for service. When we see the non-devotees flourishing, they have wealth, they have all the opulence, that opulence and the opulence of the devotees, there is a difference. The opulence of non-devotees is given by Maya Devi, and that opulence binds them to this world. The opulence of the devotees is given by Lord's Chit Shakti, that is Lord's internal potency, and that opulence doesn't bind them. That is a difference. Okay, wealth. Okay, so we'll stop here. We'll continue next time. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagvatam ki
जय
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
हरे कृष्ण दंडवत प्रणाम.